We can turn up the volume in here. Let's see if that does anything. How's that better? Do what? I'm staticky now. How about now? Okay, is that better? Cool. Yeah. All right, excellent. All right, Matt. Well, thanks a bunch. Go ahead and hit the record button. And then I hung up on him.
We're going to do all this, and he's going to say, did you want me to record that?
Well, awesome. Let's get started. Go ahead and hit the record button if you haven't, Adam. We'll have to edit that out if you did. Today, welcome to AOTalks.
Thank you.
This is a brand new thing that we're doing to introduce our clients to technology that we use here at AOT and that we recommend for them. We want to give our clients and the general public in general, I guess, sort of a look behind the curtain, sort of a look at the wizard and some of the technologies and answer some questions that they may have about different things. And today we've got Steve Deckert with Net2Phone and Alan Bork with Net2Phone, and I want to welcome you guys.
Thank you.
Thanks, Al. Thanks for having us.
Oh, you're welcome. Give us a word or two about who you are, what you are, your background, sort of on a personal level, and go from there.
All right, I'll start. Hi, I'm Alan Bork. I'm the sales director with Net2Phone. Pretty new to the phone business. Only been in the business since probably almost 30 years or so. My background is with phone systems, so PBXs and key systems. I'm based out of central New Jersey, and Net2Phone covers the entire country, so we're happy to be here today.
Yep. My name's Steve Deckard. I'm a regional channel manager out of Charlotte, North Carolina, but I cover the country across. My background, been in technology for about 20 years, sold phone systems, Mitels and Awatsus for about 15. Big background in ISP, managed services, security. Been with Net2Phone for a couple of years now, so very excited to be back on this side of the table.
Very, very nice. How long has Net2Phone been around? How long is it? Is it a startup or anything, or how long have you guys been around?
So Net2Phone is actually a subsidiary company of a global telecom carrier called IDT. IDT went public on the New York Stock Exchange in 1990. So effectively, we've been around since 1990, over 30 years. We've had our voice over IP hosted phone solution program probably for about the last 6 or 7 years.
Oh, nice. So you guys have been around for a while.
So we've been around for a long time.
Been around for a while. Does Net2Phone provide just phone systems, or do you guys have other things that you're doing? Like you mentioned security. Is there anything else that Net2Phone does, or is it just totally focused on phone?
That was just a piece of my background. So Net2Phone, we have 3 primary products with a lot of integrations that play with that. So we've got hosted PBX or UCaaS, we've got SIP trunking, and we also have Microsoft Teams voice. And then within those products, we do a lot of integrations, like we can integrate UCaaS with Microsoft Teams voice, we can integrate Salesforce, and then there's several other, but those are our 3 primary products that we have out.
Oh, very, very cool. What are some of the advantages to working with Net2Phone? What are some of the things that where you guys really shine? What are some of the real positive things with Net2Phone?
Sure. So, really, I think differentiators, right? I think, number one, it's a proprietary platform in that we, being part of IDT, Net2Phone being part of IDT, we have a tremendous amount of resources, so we are able to do our own internal development. So we do our own development of our product. Our platform is our platform, as compared to a lot of other providers out there. Ours is what we call proprietary platform, but what it allows us to do is to provide all features and functions as part of really a single seat price. So we don't nickel and dime for features and functions. It's really all inclusive.
Okay.
That's one differentiator. Another differentiator, again, IDT is a global carrier with relationships with a lot of international carriers. So whether it's SIP trunks or a Teams integration, Microsoft Teams integration, or our hosted PBX, everything that we have out there includes unlimited calling, US, Canada, Mexico, and right now it's like 40 to 50 other countries where it's unlimited free calling.
Nice.
So those are, those are two big ones.
Yeah, I would say another big differentiator is just the resources from our people internally. It's made up of a lot of people with a voice background, so we understand a basic PBX setup. So whether it's a small business with 10 phones or a large enterprise with 300, we understand the basic features that they're coming from the PBX world, moving to the cloud. And that, to me, is a big differentiator for what we can bring to the table for them.
24/7 support, 365, and US-based support.
Oh,
So,
very cool.
yeah.
So we're not dialing across the water, across the pond to get
Exactly,
to a
right.
tech support person.
Right.
We're getting someone right here locally in the US.
That's
Correct.
right.
That's very cool. Where are you guys based out of?
So our global headquarters is in Newark, New Jersey.
Okay.
We're in the IDT building. Of course, a lot of people today are remote. We actually, when the pandemic started, we had about 1,200 people in that building, not just Net2Phone, but IDT and other subsidiary companies. But that is where we're based out of, is Newark, New Jersey.
Okay, very cool. Now, you mentioned the support 24/7. Is that 24/7, 365, any kind of limitations on that, or is it pretty much if the phone's broke, call and we'll fix it?
Yeah, so I mean, support obviously, at different times of day and week, we escalate accordingly. So, it might not be the high-level tier 3 engineer that's available at 3 o'clock in the morning, but if there's any kind of an issue, whoever's answering that phone has that capability of escalating, and we do answer. We're live answer. So if you call in at 3 o'clock in the morning, you're going to get somebody who's going to answer that phone, and it's not like you just woke them up. And they will have that capability of escalating accordingly if the need arises or if the need is there.
So if we need to break up that engineer at 3 o'clock in the morning, he ain't gonna like it, but if it
Right.
needs to be done, that's what happens.
Right.
Very-
And, just to add, I think one of the nice things about Net2Phone is that we are part of a large organization with something like, 1,800 employees overall with IDT. But Net2Phone itself is an entrepreneurial organization where there aren't a lot of levels of management. If, something needs to be done, I can call the chief operating officer or the president on his cell phone, get him involved in something. It's all hands on deck. I mean, we're not in a perfect world with technology, but we address it accordingly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we're large enough to make things happen, but small enough to have the resources at our disposal when we
Yeah,
need
so
them.
you sort of you've got the ability to bring in a huge company if need be, but you also have the understanding, it sounds like, that you understand that, Bob's bait and tackle down the street, they need their phone working, so you
100%.
understand that entrepreneurial sort of mindset.
100%.
Yeah,
100%.
very cool. So let's talk about sort of, if someone is thinking about going with Net2Phone, or maybe they're new to voice over IP, can you give us sort of a thumbnail about what they need to bring to the table beforehand? I mean, do they need super fast internet? Do they need Cisco switches? Sort of give me a thumbnail of what works and what doesn't, and what we need to have in place before we make that call to Net2Phone to bring you on.
Sure.
Well, I would definitely say having a good understanding of your network and your infrastructure is going to be key depending on the size of the business. So if you're 10 employees and you don't have the newest and the latest cabling, you may need to get some cabling done. If you don't have the right firewall or the right PoE switches in place, you're going to need to reach out to your integrator and ask them those type of questions. From our side, the bandwidth utilization is very minimal, but it needs to be consistent, and it needs to always work.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where we are going to rely on the integrator to go out there and kind of help consult and hold that customer's hand to make sure that their network is where it needs to be.
Let me take from I guess a little bit different angle as well. When you talk about what do you need to bring to the table, I think our partnership with, this organization, where you have project management locally, working with our project management, the key to a successful installation or transition over to Net2Phone is really in the weeds, right? So we're gonna get down there, we're gonna understand, today you have some system in place. What's important there? What features, what functions, what button programming do you need on those phones? What do you need to do when it's 5 o'clock? You know, do you go to an answering service? Do you escalate to somebody who needs to answer phones? Or is it just, I'm gonna leave a message that's now gonna go to somebody's, you know, email with a WAV file or an MP3 file attachment and a transcription of that voicemail? So I think it really gets down to, you know, working in partnership and understanding what the specific needs of you as the customer are. It's not cookie cutter. It's really understand, it doesn't matter whether it's a pizza shop that has 2 phones but is, you know, constantly taking orders, or it's a doctor's office with 30 phones, and what happens, you know, on weekends.
And knowing all those options that you've got, I mean, the options could be overwhelming. I mean, you know, do you want it to go here? Do you want it to go there? Making all those decisions is, that's a big part of it, I would
Yeah,
imagine.
the devil's in the details, just like Alan said, but what we try to do is take it from a different approach. Obviously, we want to mirror what the customer has today, but then look for opportunities to make improvements.
Right.
You know, what are they doing today with their current setup? Where do they want to see improvements? What's not working right, and, you know, what has them frustrated? All those elements are things we're going to talk about on the front end when we set this up. And then what I also like to remind customers is, it's not like the old world where the PBX, you set it and you forget it, and you may come back in 3 years. As things change in your business, we can make changes for you, help you adjust this system to accommodate what's going on in your world, and that makes it very easy for the customer.
Right.
You know, Steve, you just gave me, you know, kind of a spark on something that I've been talking about from a customer that taught me a lesson probably 25 years ago, where when I was trying to bring him a solution that really didn't fit right, and the lesson I learned from this customer, which I've taken literally until today, is that, you know, the customer, they understand their business, right? So we're not there to tell them how to re-engineer their business. We're there to bring them a solution that is going to make them more effective and efficient at what they already know how to do.
Right. Very, very, very good. Very good. Let's talk about some of the differences. Like, for example, if I'm going to move over to a voice over IP to Net2Phone, am I looking to pay more, pay less? I mean, what is, as far as a cost standard or as far as a cost expectation, what do you guys see across the board? Is it up and down all over the place, or is it?
It is all over the place, because you have a large part of the S&B market is still on copper lines.
Right.
You know, paying $45 to $50 per copper line. When you get into the larger customers with PRIs, they're paying $300 to $600 for those circuits. So we do see a cost savings on both sides of that spectrum. It just depends on really, you know, how many lines they have and what the total setup is going to be. But there's almost always a cost savings to be had over traditional telecom.
And one huge difference is when we, you know, again, going years back, when we would sell a phone system, you're talking about a very significant capital investment.
Right.
And, you know, putting hardware in the closet that you had to worry about, that you had to maintain, that you had to have a maintenance contract on, that you had to, you know, what happens if water starts coming in through, you know, a window and somehow hits that, you know, system. And, you know, that might not have been an upfront expenditure. It could have been a few thousand to literally hundreds of thousands of dollars of investment upfront. But it also could have been, you know, just financing over a period of time. Today, it's a services thing. It's all, when you talk about going to the cloud, one of the huge benefits is that the technology is in the cloud, meaning we've got that technology and we're able to provide it to you on almost like a remote basis with all the, you know, with features and functions, but there's not that upfront investment anymore. It's really going to a, you know, from a capital, from a CapEx to an OpEx.
So you guys have sunk a lot of money into getting this stuff in the back end that years before that the customer would have had to buy to stick in that closet.
Yeah, they would have made hard decisions. You know, 10, 15 years ago, do I spend extra money and get more features in a phone system, or do I wait and get it down the road? They're getting all of this upfront in the cloud today, right off the get-go.
Very, very cool. Very cool. Well, we're getting toward the end of the questions that I had for you guys. Couple of little things to see. Is there any downside to going to a voice over IP or Net2Phone? Is there any sort of gotchas that may be hidden around that we may run into? Any kind of advice to sort of hedge those downsides, if there are any?
Yeah, I would say the only things that, again, going back to the very first statement I made when we started talking, is having a good partner, a good integrator that can look at your network, can help you make adjustments, whether you need firewalls or switches or cabling or whatever you need on the infrastructure side. If you don't have that partner and that relationship, it can make going to the cloud a little bit harder. And when you do start to run into problems, you're going to need that type of partner to go out and help you troubleshoot and see what's going on. So, to me, if you have that relationship, there are no downsides to going to the cloud.
Yeah, because like I said before, there'll always be problems. Are you going to fix them? How fast can you fix them? What can we do to resolve them is what it comes down to at the end of the day.
Right. One of the things, you see from like traditional phone systems, whether it be smaller key systems or PBXs, is that they would come with 1,000 features, right, and functions. I'm just making up that number,
Sure.
but a lot of features and functions, and any individual would probably use 8 or 10 or 11. With cloud-based telephony, some of those features that you might have had available, this is across the board, are not necessarily available, but what is available is a lot more enhancements. As an example, during a pandemic, we've had customers that all of a sudden, 6 months before, they went from a traditional phone system to our cloud environment with 300 or so users. We were able to take 200 of those users that needed to go and be remote and make them remote literally overnight. Grab your phone, grab a power supply, go home and plug it into your cable modem or your BIOS box or whatever, and now your extension is there. You're ready to go. Or go onto the app, or go onto your phone and bring up the soft phone. Now you have that, real connectivity, and your features are there, your functions are there, your extension is there, it's ready. So there's a lot of flexibility, a lot of remote capabilities, a lot of enhancements of features, that come with that. And I think that's significant, especially in today's environment.
As most businesses have a certain level of technology in place today, and when they move to the cloud, like one of the things I always say is, I don't care if you have a desk phone, or if you're going to use the desktop app, or if you want to use the mobile app. It's all the same for us. It looks the same, it feels the same, it's just easy to use. It's just up to you how you want to use it.
How you want it to fit. Well, that sort of brings to the last question. If you had one feature of Net2Phone to pick that your favorite, what would it be?
For me, probably the mobile app, just because I like the mobility of it, and I like that it looks, feels like everything else. To me, that's so important.
Very cool. And how about you, Alan?
So I guess kind of in the same vein, I travel a lot. So my ability to literally go, because we use WebRTC, so it's not even, on a laptop or a computer, it's not even downloading an app, but you're just logging on with a web URL. So across our platform, whether it be our video, audio conferencing, or our own platform, where you want to make or receive calls, if I don't have my laptop available, but I'm going into somebody's office, I literally can log into a computer. As long as I've got a mic and and speakers or a headset, I'm there. I'm online. I'm at my extension, no matter where I am, literally anywhere in the world.
Very cool. Awesome features. Well, we won't beat it up anymore. I certainly appreciate you guys coming in and spending some time with us and going on the inaugural AO Talks.
That's great.
So, again, welcome, and thank you guys for being there, and we certainly appreciate it.
And thank you, Al. We appreciate not only this opportunity, but our partnership.
Sounds great. Thanks, guys.
Okay.